At least this time the internet won't have dropped out on me. Computer, come on. You know it's there. Greetings everyone, I am Sister Lilia and welcome to my armory. Sorry for the slow delay on the start there. My computer was lagging. So, I now have a cover for this video. So, it's been a long time since I did the last one of these, and a lot happened. And rather than attempt to recap, essentially we are above the planet Silver Tenebris. I've probably butchered the name. The Mechanicus are here to take stuff from the necrons in what has been best described by others as a field trip, an archaeological dig / home invasion. So we've got nearly 60. The necrons are nearly 60% on their awakening, which is a dangerous place for us to be in. Hey, another Magos. What have we got there? So, Subdefinite Caphra has reported a rogue skitarii alpha has lost his mind in the tomb of Ulebleb. Find him and bring him back, or eliminate him if that is impossible. Given that this involves skitarii, I would rather not actually deploy skitarii, since they seem to be treating these skitarii as relatively human. Have I got a better version of that? Let's just put 6 in. Got anything better than 10? No, I do not. Anything better than 4? Next 6 attacks. That will work. So, let's go skitarii hunting. A serious matter has come to my attention, Magos. I fear I can only discuss it with you directly. My tech priests are lacking in time, manpower, and resources, Subdomina. Ensure it is worthy of our time. It is. One of the skitarii officers has broken his strategic thought conditioning and disappeared from our comms net. The conditions in the tomb of Ubajau have caused a complete psychological breakdown. In short, he has gone mad. This is a material and moral threat. I return shock at the prospect. You were right to bring this to me. It must be dealt with swiftly and discreetly. Hence why I'm deploying Castellans. Nothing quite says discreet like a big robot, faceless robot, walking past you going, shh. It's a bit like that Raven Guard dreadnought that just walking past an unsuspecting tower, and and the tower's just like looked at him and he's like, "You do not see," and keeps walking. And the tower's just like, "Okay." Where's the guardsman? I'm not the one that came up with that meme. So the map of this layout. We have 2 points up there. And we have one right near us. I wonder if we'll find him right off the bat, because that tends to happen with this map. I can narrow down the Alpha's last location, but its approximate target at best. You will have to find him. My tech priests will locate and neutralize the wayward soul. What intelligence do we have on the necron activity in the area? The Alpha broke under fire. The necrons he was fighting will still be there, Edmagos, when you find him, what logic demands must be done, must be done. Seems like the best place to start. Now we have... Oh, we have a full... because it's been a while since I last played this. It's also been a while since I last saw how much my cognition bar was. Oh hey, I actually really did upgrade these guys. One person's got full free canticles ability. So we've got summon in troops and fill the gauge. We've got not particularly heavy upgrades. And we've got medic that can heal you fully, and has the free damage has the free attack axe. Okay. Ah, okay. The medic's the one that can be found. Coming back to a game after a very long time is wacky. Is a wacky experience sometimes. So, let's push through here. Now, I am deliberately going to start this off right now. I'm not going to break this piece right here, because I can, but I won't. Because I want to give it I want to get a couple of turns of action out of here first. Oh, Lynch Guard. Maybe I spoke too soon. Oh, Lynch Guard. The ultimate ruiners of plans. Now... how much health have you got? Since I've grabbed cognition, I'm just going to grab stats. Okay, weak to energy. And most of the party is equipped for melee. Oh dear. Time to aggro this guy. And he doesn't attack because the game's logic engine is a wonderful thing. Now, I am not expecting to actually injure him with a Castellan, but I am going to deploy a Castellan to have it set him on fire, because setting the enemy on fire is a good way of dealing with them. And also, let's get the gauge. Let's fill the gauge. Wait, which one's that? Cognition canister. Oh, it's tech priest boosting. I mean, in theory, he might need the melee, but he might need the damage resistance. It's like, in other words, let's just buff this guy as much as I can. So I am setting this enemy on fire, and I would very much like to actually do some damage. Ooh, he angry. Now, let's just move you down here. There's only going to be one visible tech priest, who I really should equip for melee damage, since a lot of enemies will want to go after him while the rest of the team are invisible. Oh well. Now, I can move over to here. And I am just going to shield him. Now, what is his current... Oh, the shield isn't just a blanket block, but oh well, let's get him up to 3. And see if I can hit... Come on. There we go. Damage absorbed, damn. Oh well. Oh, I can do that. I wasn't expecting to be able to do that. That's neat. Where do I want to move him? I'll move him there. Really should check what that one's stats are. Donk! Ooh, ow. Haha! It's down to 4 health. Good. Good. I love the Necron the crests that Lynchguard have. It makes them look like they've got weird hair. They've got a funky hairstyle. No, I'm not going to waste the... I'm not going to deploy a Castellan. Not yet. You take ages to move, so I'm going to move you, and I'll see about using the Castellan to do damage to Thingo. Ha ha ha! He's down. Good. Buzzsaw time. Let's just make sure he doesn't get back up. Now, I am just going to come over to here, because I want to get around this side of him to put the entirety of him between me and well, the enemy. Hey, I'll actually do some damage. Ooh boy, he pissed. Ooh boy, he angry. That's right, I can run. I can run away from him very quickly. So I am going to do that. Let's just gradually push towards the objective. You can't go very far, so I'm just going to put you over to here. Now, I am going to save actually setting that thing on fire for another time. Haha, you're on fire now. And of course you're very angry about the whole prospect. Does that give him enough space to move in? Probably. Yes! It doesn't. And of course him taking damage annoyed him further. I mean, to be fair, I'd be annoyed too. So, I don't need anyone else. I'm bringing him back. It's like we've had our fun with them. Let's just reset the whole objective. Ooh! That took him out. So let's just run you back to here. No point, I didn't quite run everyone up there. Oh, I can, that's right, I haven't torched the thing yet, so I can have the castle and torch it. Okay, you are going up here. No point breaking the secret on all of my troops. Not that you in the audience can't see what they've got. I also don't like leaving castellans behind, but now let's just push to here. Stomp, 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 stomp. Either way, that is gone. So, what weapons would you like to see on a Tech Priest cosplay inspired off this game? What's your favourite loadout in this game? I'm genuinely curious, because, like, I do all manner of loadouts, but I tend to have one dedicated medic priest, one dedicated damage priest, and then I tend to build for tankiness, so my various tech priests will generally be able to take a lot of hits. Now, I'm going to hold off on it for a moment because I want to try and push this up as close as I can. Oh well, let's push it close. Just goes around the highway. Okay, you're there, and we are out of this location and on to finding the skitarii. Although it'll give us a mission window, so he's too far gone, Magos. I can't make this decision for you. We found the grim sod, the poor sod. I love how this works. It's like the first mission. It always seems to, for me, always seems to be that we find him, the one that's closest to the deployment, and then we still have to do the other mission to hunt him down, because this game doesn't have primary objective trumping all. Hunched against the wall. Hunched against the wall in front of you. He has ripped out his augmetics. One of his eye sockets is empty. In this scene of gory horror, his breathing is laboured and filthy with blood. I am gonna give him the Emperor's Mercy. And we get free stuff. I was not expecting the free stuff. It's like, and somehow that isn't mission complete. I love how this game works. It's like sometimes things are, oh, I'm not touching the angry red one. Hey, free command points, nice. That's what that CP better mean. Real world is often depressing. So we are in for another fight. So, the benefit of the way we've deployed is a lot of my troops are stealthy. Now, where is that death mark? He's up the back. He won't be for long, let's be honest. He's a death mark. He'll make himself obvious eventually. Is there two? I am just going to deploy a Castle, and I know it's kind of a waste of resources, but... Oh no, there is one there. Did I see two of them? Yeah, there's two of them. This is going to no doubt make the Deathmark angry, but I am setting him on fire. Because let's do as much damage to my enemies as possible. Hey, it took him out in one go. Good. That flayed one is going to be pretty calm until I make it not exist any longer. Ooh, 5 damage. It's a good thing Castellans are tough. Yeah, looking back at things, GW and that random desires to faction lock is always interesting, because when GW launched the Skitarii for 40k, they released a very incomplete army. They released the kits that were released as part of the Skitarii range. Now this one's the medic, so I'm going to just take him back. Now, are you the... Yes, I can just move to there, and then I can just do this. Yeah, the Skitarii range, when it was first released, was really incomplete. Like, it had Skitarii Ranger Vanguard kit, it had the Dune Crawler, there was the Dune Strider, the Sakaran Infiltrator kit, and I think that was it. Like, that was the entire army when they were first launched. It would take another year for Mechanicus to actually get released as their own faction. Oops, no, wrong button. And they were released as a separate faction that could be allied in with Skitarii. Now, I bring that up because it's looking like with 10th edition that allies are very much coming back. I'm not actually against allies. I actually kind of like allies. They're a cool idea. I find it kind of sad that I can't build an entire army out of allies. Like, I want to run an Imperial Agents army. Run of pretty much just Imperial Agents with a token non-agents force in there. I'm just going to keep him here. Bonk. Now, I do not have any command points left, but I can move him over to here. But yeah, units I would have loved to have seen come to the Mechanicus day one as okay, you can use these, we'll eventually swap them out in favour of other units, or we may not, is day one they should have had the Engine Seer in their army list so as to have something resembling a HQ, so they could fill out a standard, what was back then a standard force organisation chart, because they had the elites in, they had the troops in the form of the Skitarii Rangers and Vanguards, they had the fast attack in the form of the Dune Striders and Iron Strider Ballistas, which are the two-legged chicken walkers, one with a lance, one with twin-linked heavy weapons. Haha, it's fun taking out an entire force of them in one go. Wonder if I can actually move him through the shelf. Is he permanently welded in place? Yes, he is. He cannot move. Brother, I am pinned here. That is going to be a nuisance. Unless I take it out. Haha, he still got fire damaged. Like, units, the Yeah, units the skitarii should have had as legions back then from GW should have been the Rhino and Chimera as troop transport units. The Tech Priest Engine Seer should have been a HQ choice for them. They should have had access to the Lehman Russ as well as a heavy support in, or alternatively the Basilisk kit or the Whirlwind, because Mechanicus make those for the Space Marines. Now, can I physically move that? No, I can't, but I can sock him one. I can sock him in the face. Bonk. Now, if this doesn't work... Oh, that didn't take out that flayed one. That's going to be a very angry flayed one in a minute. There's not much that a lot of these Necrons can do, is there? Aha. Irby. I can't really take that out. Because I want to keep that computer intact. Do I want to run this one? No, I don't. But yeah, like that, or they oh wait, no, they didn't get the Hydra Wyvern until a few weeks, and the Hydra Wyvern was released a few weeks later as part of the 2014 Guard range. I know because I have the White Dwarves from back then. I was just thinking of things that should have been released alongside it. Like, the Mechanicus army list has gradually become a fully fleshed out and valid army, but it wasn't always that way, which is kind of where I'm coming from. Now, this Tech Priest needs to be out of the way because when I unleash hell with those combustion burners, that immortal is going to be destroyed. Oh, okay. I have the objective of escape. Or, as I might alternatively describe it, current objective, survive. Whichever one. It gives me cognition. Just, it lets me get the Tech Priest completely out of the way. Because that's what I need to do. Ooh, more of them are showing. More of them are coming. Great. More enemies to set on fire. Cognition. Like, part of it's just that I would love to see chimeras and stuff in skitarii colours as part of skitarii army lists, and it would have benefited a mate of mine who back then collected that army. Now, admittedly, my guard never won a game against that army, partly due to my own handicapping my army and partly due to him being a better player. Like, the only time I won against him after he'd started collecting Mechanicus was when I ended up actually having Sisters of Battle and borrowing his Knight Paladin and right hooking him down a small table. Now I'll cover that one proper at some other point. Now you can't physically get very far, can you? Let's just... I'm going to activate his armor because he will need it after this turn. Let's just torch that lot. That was close, nearly took out that flayed one. Huh, he's gone. Stab. Did nothing. I like it when that happens. But yeah, I mean, I'd still like it for Mechanicus to get, to take some of the Imperial assets as some of the existing Imperial units in their army list without it being borrowed from other factions, rules-wise. I'm going to keep him on there. Now I do hope that I'm actually coming through audio-wise and that my console isn't having audio issues as a result of a slightly broken controller. Now let's get everything out of the way. Good. Okay, so let's just push this up here. Bonk. That poor Castellan is stuck. That other Castellan is such a write-off. That was a dumb move on my part. Is that enemy? Please tell me that enemy's in combustion burner range. Now, is it possible for me to? Yes, I can burn both of it. Now, I am just going to move him to here. I like it that the troops essentially move first. Okay, let's just push you to here. Okay, I'm gonna just stand here for a moment, and I am gonna hit him with something hard. If that don't work, this will. Good. Now, it's like you need to get into there. Good. Okay, you can move to here. Now I want you to come to here. But yeah, as for Forge World units that I feel the Mechanicus need, or needed during, prior to the add-ins from the 8th edition releases, while a mate of mine did use his Dracosan with them a lot, the Dracosan is a very potent piece of equipment. And it's a neat thing. From Forge World assets, I would have given them would have been the super heavy tanks that the Guard have. Now, you're the one with that, so let's fill the gauge. The one boss that's annoying in this game when you've got a lot of CP heavy units is McLeb. Because he takes your unspent CP from you. It's like, oh, nice cognition points you have there. Be a shame if someone were to devour them all. But yeah, so... Oh, right, no, those are mine that it's getting... It's like I was saying that one of my other videos has 2 recent views on, and then I remembered I'm the one who watched it. twice to double... Oh wait, no. One of them is probably someone else. Greetings to any new people who are watching this series. This series is just me playing Mechanicus and talking. As you've probably have noticed by now if you're still watching. Anyway, if you are, welcome! I do Warhammer 40k stuff on... I do a mixture of cosplay, gaming, and tabletop gaming stuff on this channel. Oh, right, I forgot to do the voices. I'd rather we were defined by our strengths and not our weaknesses, but missions like this remind me how fragile we are in a place like the tombs of Silver Tenebris. It is the ideal of the tech priesthood to remove those weaknesses by making our physical form closer to the machine. True flawlessness has yet to be attained. I mean, technically the Necrons achieved what you're after, and many of them regret it. Because Necrons' immortal bodies kind of suck for them, to some degree. Like, in some ways they suck, but in a lot of them they're really good because they don't age, they generally don't get sick, tech viruses notwithstanding. They're impervious to the conditions that ruined their bodies on their homeworld. Oh hey, we got the assassin. So yeah, after this stream I'm going to be naming this A New Priest Joins the Collection. So... since I am going to probably end up running this one, this is a melee. Given this is a melee only playthrough, I don't really have a lot of access to dramatic special equipment. So let's make sure this one is one that can't go down. Oh, physical armor. There are better options. That would be useful. Let's do that. Sure, I'm going to end up sabotaging him to a degree by building him physical damage. Like, I'm adding a heretic into this force, let's be honest. Plus 20 critical chance. I probably won't use that upgrade. Plus critical chance damage. Add HP. I'm just building this guy up. Actually, since I'm going to be running melee only, let's just get that. Okay, I can't do anything else to him. Actually, let's just get rid of that one. Let's add that one. Let's add that, so I can actually reveal the details of my enemies. Should probably have grabbed something with gloves, shouldn't I? That requires 3, doesn't it? Let's just take that big one off and put a small one on. Like, in theory, I'd be better off making a unit like this one not have I'd be better off making a unit like this one be better off in close combat. Well, actually, not close combat. Better off resisting damage. thought. I'd love some new weapons in this game. This game's been out since, I think, 2018. It'd be cool for us to have some new equipment. That makes him 1, so let's actually... Wait, that makes him tough on that front at least. So, what am I equipping him with in addition to? I'll give him that in the ranged, in the technically ranged slot. And, is that the single? No, where's the single augment one? There we go. Do I have the full strength Xenorite one? No, I don't. Okay. Frustrating I don't have the Xenorite one, but I'm guessing I know what mission chain that one's locked to. Alright, that whole spare mission chain that I keep forgetting about. So, I didn't realise until very recently that there is a whole mission chain unlocked by pressing your scanner button thing, which on console is L2, or on PlayStation is L2. I did not know this. That is cool. Now, that one's apparently hard. Hey, I can get a new troop spot. Let's see how quickly I can steamroll through this. I am just going to undeploy that unit and stick in that, because I can't imagine I'm going to need more. Usually 2 Castellans is enough. I've received strange reports from our skitarii units in the tomb of Nefertisk. It might be worth your attention, Magos. Lord Nefisk, it seems, was eager to commemorate his achievements in building the tomb complex. Previous mission data suggests Lord Neferix was greatly enamored of memorializing himself. One of the inner chambers contains what looks like a scale model of the whole tomb valley, all of the structures rendered in miniature. It's quite the thing. If such an object were captured, it could be valuable in planning the exploration of the tombs. Ascertaining the purpose might also prove useful intelligence. It represents a conundrum that causes my emotional cores to return some curiosity. Haha, we are going after the thing. Such miniature... Oops, I skipped her over, didn't I? Such miniature recreations are sometimes used in strategic training exercises. Their use is considered obsolete in the Adeptus Mechanicus. Sleep-taught tactical protocols and battle prayer sermons are far more efficient. Effective. In any case, I've plotted a route to the chamber. Though the Necrons have recaptured much of the area from our skitarii, perhaps they're using the model to plan the counterattacks? It shall soon be beyond their use, Subdomini. If it cannot be captured for our use, the application of explosives represents a suitable solution. I mean, if we can't have it, deny it to the enemy. So it's my most efficient route. 2 routes that way. Door here. Cool. Let's go. I find it sad that they still haven't redone the servitors. Like the servitor squad. They've technically released... There's technically been 2 plastic servitors. One of which was released in Blackstone Fortress expansion. One of which... And the other in a limited availability Inquisition expansion for Kill Team. Oh boy. Now, who moves first? Goody. Oh. Let's clear a path, shall we? Proceeds to block the path. I could do it this way instead. Are you close enough? No, you're not. Okay, we are going over here. Now, pardon me. Now, oh, I should have upgraded him with the canister, with the troop support canister. Now, I am just going to grab the cognition from there, because I am also about to do this. Because out of all of them, I want to do some damage to the immortals. Now the medic can come over to here and hopefully not get completely incinerated. Oh wait, no, that's the spy. Yes, I am referencing Team Fortress 2. Greetings, targets. It's like there really isn't many obvious units amongst my side here, is there? Greetings! Smack! Yeah, I still find it it's kind of a bit sad there's only one animation package for punching enemies with them. Would be nice if there was just a single thonk, like single right hook. But these things happen. Now, who's resistant to what? Everyone has mild energy resistance. So, can I hit all of them with that? Yes, I can. Good. Let's do that. Greetings! I didn't actually realise that I had viewers at this moment. Welcome to the stream, new person and existing person. So, what are your favourite Mechanicus units? If you have favourite units for the Mechanicus on tabletop. Or in the lore. So, In the event you're wondering, how am I using the arc casters when I've in a melee only run, the game literally allows me to. They're not classed as ranged weapons. They're classed single target melee attack, despite the fact that they're slotted into the ranged weapon slot. I think the devs realised they needed to have some kind of melee type energy weapon for the tech priest to be able to stand a chance on playthroughs like this. At the same time, I think they also oh come on, I think it also would have been rather underwhelming if two entire loadout slots were completely useless on depending on the setting of the run you're doing. I mean, sure, the melee weapon slot's completely useless if you do the ranged only run, but yeah, that's one slot versus two slots. At the same time, I can understand why people wouldn't do the melee only run. Hey, it loaded the damage before it loaded the attack. I love this game. Sometimes it is a little buggy in hilarious ways. Now, you both have very strong energy resistance, or very strong physical resistance. Who took more damage? They both took the same damage. Okay, I want to keep that console intact. And that was the Necron that moves next. I'm just going to attack the one that goes next. Oh well. Did nothing. That's not terribly surprising. Opportunity attack. Doesn't do anything. Ooh, got rid of him. Now, he can't really do much. That's fine. And the one tech priest that's actually visible has level 4 energy shielding anyway, so... or one of the two. Oh, he targets the Castellan. It can handle it. I thought. It's down to 6, that's not good. I get the feeling if they were to release a second Mechanicus game, they'd probably limit the number of Castellans and Cataphrons you can deploy. Probably mainly the Castellans because they're a tanky piece of work. And I get the feeling it'd be limited to something like 1. I don't need a second. Now I want you to tell me just what stats this thing has. Because you can do that. Okay, you don't have the capacity to do much against it, so... Oh, we have comments and I've actually managed to completely miss them. Sorry. Come on, computer. Let me just jump across to my live stream. I'll just mute my computer so I don't echo chamber. The easy way. So, let's see what people are saying. You don't... Oh, this isn't my first melee only run. I've did a whole... Back in 2019 I did a whole melee only run of Mechanicus, which showed me it was truly possible. I'm just going to drop my computer resolution completely down, because I only really want the comments. And I might jump back loop myself. Because I don't want to exit the stream to do it. Now, do I want to do anything else with this one? Not really. You will be on fire. Oh, so I've got about a 20-second lag behind myself on, or maybe 10-second lag connection-wise. That's decent. I was expecting it to be a bit longer. Yeah, so... yeah, there aren't many games with the Mechanicus as a faction in it. Sanctus Reach, if I remember correctly, is the main other one. It's kind of a shame. The Mechanicus are a really cool faction. Now, I'm just going to put him here, and... yeah, basically the one weapon that makes the entire Mechanicus melee only run viable is the Arc Casters, or sorry, Arc Scourge. I'm used to Star Wars, where the lightning bolt weapon used by troops is called the Arc Caster. Now, bonk. That gets rid of him. Now, I am probably going to lose that Castellan, I think. That's sad. I don't like losing Castellans. Castellans are really cool. But that Castellan is in danger. Ooh, nice. Okay, what have we got? Yeah, Gladius, sorry. Mentally it was either Gladius or Sanctus Reach. The Mechanicus normally appear as a support element in other games. So commonly you'll see, like, the Dawn of War 1 had the Mechanicus in with the Guard to provide, had bits of Mechanicus in the Guard, namely, it had the Tech Priest Engine Seer to repair tanks, because that's where you most commonly find them. And indeed, until the Mechanicus, the Adeptus Mechanicus Subcodex faction came out in 7th edition, in early 7th edition, the Mechanicus were not even in the game as a proper faction. They were in Heresy, and I think GW had seen their popularity in Heresy and gone, let's bring them about for tabletop. That would make sense as to their motivation. I mean, there would have no doubt been the endless amounts of people who'd send a message through to GW's mailbag or email, well, mailbags and email boxes going, when are the Mechanicus coming to tabletop? When are the Mechanicus coming to tabletop? And their mail openers probably would be very sick of the question, because they have no say over it, and the most they can do is pass it up the chain. I am going to just push you to here, because I am getting rid of this one enemy this turn. I don't need this turn to go on any longer. There we go. Huh, it took a moment for it to load itself. Oh yeah. Mechanica, as things stand, while the Votann may be the most while the Votann and Genestealer cults are the most recent factions to the game, Votann came out last year. Genestealer Cult came out in 2017. The Thousand Suns got a range overhaul that actually made them into a proper range. oh, whoops, in 2017 as well. Prior to that, they were just kind of a neat little side flavour, a bit like Legion of the Damned used to be. Like, the Death Watch also came out in came out as their own faction in 2017 as well, following on from the success of the game Death Watch Overkill, which I still to this day regret not buying, but the main hobby stockist I went through at the time, I did not know that they did that they did lay-by type system. If I had have, I absolutely would have gone through them to get it, because that would have meant that I'd ended up getting it at a price that I could actually afford. I am going to bring you to here. You're going to be the one who takes a hit. Oh boy, I gave the Necrons initiative, didn't I? Like, yeah, 2014 saw the Skitarii stuff come out, and for the most part, Skitarii, it took until 8th edition for them to properly get more stuff, and that was late 8th edition. Engine War, the Engine War Psychic Awakening book, was when they got a whole lot of stuff, because the Salisbury Cavalry, the Flyer, and the Grav Tank, along with the Tech Priest Maniplus, were not part of the game until that codex. The Maniplus, there was also another one, a Tech Priest Archivist, which came out as part of Blackstone Fortress, as an expansion for it. It feels weird talking about stuff that feels like it was last year, but it realistically was 5 years ago almost. I partly wish I'd jumped onto the Mechanicus much earlier. I do sort of have a Mechanicus collection, but it's a really small one because it's something I've built in the background, partly because I've got the kits to use for other projects. Let's just grab their stats. Oh, we've got a relatively decent disposition of shields. You are coming up the back. You are not going to be useful in a firefight. Okay. How far is your running range? Haha, this one can just kind of charge even further. Just all that running range. Yoink, 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 dink, dink, dink. Yeah, so like Skitarii did not have any means of being safely transported during after 7th edition, because in 8th edition you couldn't, until they got their own transports in Engine War, you could not actually... Is that the one that's visible? Yes, that's the one that's visible. That's the one that's in danger. I am grabbing all of that cognition because I want to get him closer. Although there's one next to him that I can run. Tech Priest behind him that I can get closer. But yeah, like, I'm kind of glad that my mate never bought any chimeras or rhinos to use as transports for his Skitarii, because he would have only got use of them until 8th edition. Because the way rules worked in 8th edition, you couldn't transport share. Like, you could not have troops ride share, which is kind of a shame. During 7th edition, you had to start you couldn't start allied units or units not belonging to the faction of the transport in that transport, which was kind of a shame because it shot down carpooling. But and carpooling had been a thing in 6th edition. At the same time, though, that meant some truly hilarious stuff ended up happening due to just wording of rules and so on, saw some really powerful units in some dirt cheap transports, or really powerful fire units from other armies being put into drop pods and deep struck to then proceed to unleash hell. Like, I can't remember the exact example because it's been 10 years nearly. Like 6th edition had a 2-ish year lifespan. It released in 2012 and then was discontinued in 2014. So it got like it got 2 years lifespan. And there are actually some really cool posters of 6th edition for 7th edition in the White Dwarf, which at that point was a weekly magazine, with the monthly version being very much a gallery space, which I kind of want them to go back to, where they show off a whole lot of the community's work. Like, I don't want them to go as heavy on it as they did. Oh wait, I can't really deploy too much with that, can I? Let's do that, and let's do that. Okay, they are going to go forward to try and shoot things. Now, he won't do much, but anything's better than nothing. Now, but yeah, in 6th, like, the thing that made things truly hilarious was there was an expansion released back in December of 2016 called Imperial Agents, which would have been a really good expansion if it wasn't handicapped by 7th edition's rules. Because 7th edition's transport rules meant you couldn't start the game with allied units or units not bearing all of the same keywords or faction words as the transport in the transport. Hey, 10 plus damage. Donk. And he is gone. It's like deployment coordinator, go burr. I don't really need to do too much with him, do I? That guy is going to be a nuisance soon. Let's just bring in the big boy. Let's bring in one of the big boys. And then fill the gauge because I'm getting him out of the way. I'm just going to use the cognition to get him out of the way, because he absolutely will be in the way if I don't. Oh yeah, the rules were poorly implemented. GW... Normally 40k rules have a 3 to 4 year lifespan. GW killing the rules early is an indicator that something was wrong, and they knew it. Like, we've had the situation with 9th edition where it made things so bloated and messy that GW chose to nuke the whole thing and change the entire rule set around heavily, but keep some of the problems. The change from 7th to 8th was a good one, because it rebalanced the playing field, and it meant a lot of stuff worked. The 7th, the way things worked in 6th that I remember, I didn't actually properly play that edition, because at the time I was in a situation where I financially couldn't afford to change editions, so I just went, okay, I'm just going to continue collecting models, and I've got friends who are willing to play essentially what amounted to 5.5. So I ended up doing a 5th and a half edition, and didn't have to do it for very long because 7th edition came out in 2014. Bonk. Okay, alright, because he's got the Xenorite upgrade. just put him here. That Necron's a bit concerned because he sees enemies. Now, let's torch. Oh good, I was worried for a moment there that I'd hit my friend. Greetings, casualties. I am about to buzzsaw you up a step. Yeah, GW had to do a whole lot of reworking with 6th edition because things just weren't balanced in a very bad way. Flyers had come out and they were poorly implemented. Like, you could only hit them on a 6th, which is immediately a pretty potent thing. You also couldn't hit them. You also had to, like, most armies at that point didn't have a flyer until partway through 6th. Like, the only 2 armies that had a flyer at the end of 5th edition, and one of them got them, well, actually, the one army that had flyers in 5th edition was Guard, because they had the Valkyrie and they got it early in the edition as a port over from Forge World. Like, Forge World did the Valkyrie first. I love how it just blocked. I wish they'd kind of make the wall invisible so it doesn't block it. Oh well, they'll make improvements on later versions of the game, I think. Okay, yeah. I'm just gonna have to do that. I'm gonna just leave that one. Actually, no, I'm not, because the other one is a lot less tanky. Okay. There's a lot of enemies who are going to be a problem. Psychic powers also got shifted around a lot. The psychic phase was first brought about in 6th edition, and there was a really nasty summoning mechanic that happened where essentially anyone could summon demons, and there was no real limit on it, which meant you essentially could have psychers going, and for my next come on, let's work out the Yu-Gi-Oh analogy, even though I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh. And for my next move, I summon a Pot of Greed from my hand. I'd play Pot of Greed and summon 2 additional models from my hand. And then I play another Pot of Greed and summon more models from my hand, and so on. It got ridiculous really fast. There was also a lot of really horrible unit mashing, or a whole lot of really nasty meshing of things that saw things like invisible Thunderwolves because of buffs that got put onto them, and character mesh and characters sharing abilities with units that shouldn't really share abilities, and so on. And some of that carried over into 7th edition as well. I remember Khan the Betrayer and Chaos Lord on bike with Mega Blob of World Eaters, Death Star unit in 7th edition, and like, it cleared the majority of a table. It got pretty much all the way across the table in one go with like a 30-inch move, and then an assault charge, and proceeded to gut an Imperial Knight in one go. Pulls out Pot of Avarice just to one-up them. Nice. Yeah, as I said, I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! I've given a bit of Magic the Gathering a go through a friend of mine who has it, but never really caught on to it much. Oh, it was horrible. On a subject of balance, and this is kind of giving a point away from a video that I'm going to be doing at some point soon, once I get around to properly rereading the White Dwarf in question. In one of the first codexes released in 6th edition was the codex for Chaos Space Marines. In the White Dwarf battle report for them, Chaos lost their battle report to the 5th Ed Codex Space Marines, and they lost it by a landslide. at the time, there are a few Chaos players who were quite grumpy about this. But in reality, this showed a concerning... this really showed a trend of what was about to happen. Because in 6th edition, every other faction didn't have chapter traits or an equivalent. In 2013, Space Marine, in September 2013, Space Marines got their chapter traits, and they were the only army to have them. This, of course, understandably annoyed Chaos players and a lot of other players. I'm predominantly a Guard player, Guard and Sisters a battle player. I mean, Sisters at that point were a White Dwarf Codex. Sisters had a White Dwarf Codex and... oh, come on. We were a White Dwarf Codex and a... and after the White Dwarf expired, there was only 2 ways of getting hold of that Codex until 6th edition gave us a... until we ended up with the digital download codex being released, which was locked to iOS formats and to Android and iOS formats only. Like not like how things are at the start of 10th, where they've released them all as PDFs. I wish they did that 10 years ago. But an interesting thing I found out, like they wouldn't have done that partly because they couldn't afford to at the time. I found this out through the Painting Phase podcast that has, through their episode on contrast paints. GW were doing really badly at the start of 2014. Apparently they were a few months off closure unless they fixed something big time. And looking back, I can actually see how I can actually see a lot of that having happened. Like GW were they were millions in debt at that point, and this wasn't just the Chapter House lawsuit that GW essentially got told you have to have models of things in product. You actually have to have a model of something to get upset over people making models of its rules. Because prior to that, things like the Spore Pod, the Tyranid Spore Pod thing, didn't exist, and GW got upset when a third party made them. Chapter House made a whole lot of upgrade kits and add-on kits and a few original kits, and they made the mistake of using GW names. And part of it was because GW had chosen names that were so generically close to copy, were so generic that they couldn't actually truly hold the ownership of, which is why everything is gone. So Drukhari, Astra Militarum, Adeptus Auroritus, Adeptus Mechanicus. Admittedly, Mechanicus is one of their original faction names, so that one makes sense and is understandable. When the but because of how the trademarking thing worked and how the lawsuit went with Chapter House, GW went in and tried to claim everything under the sun was something that they owned the copyright on. Things like halberd and sword and Warhammer, not as in the weapon, but as in the not as in the brand, but as in the weapon. A lot of things they got shut down on. Some things they won on, but in all honesty, there are better people to cover it than I am. I half remember the battle and the outcome. Macca at the Outer Circle actually has covered it a lot better than I can, and I think even Rob Bear over at Spiky Bits has, and that's saying something because I am not generous towards Spiky Bits. There are names that they used to be called that I remember, but I'm not going to say for risk of defamation. They weren't quite going under at that point. The Chapter House thing happened in 2012. Because back at that point, Chapter House did do a whole lot of upgrades. Like they had Thousand Suns upgrades. I think they had Sisters of Battle upgrades. and a few other things. Now, what have you got? That one that's there is basically gone. You aren't, much to my annoyance. But you will be soon. Squish. Aw, I'd hoped it'd squish him. Now, I need to take out that Necron Immortal before the other one... creep. That's not going to happen then, I don't think. Actually, I can get rid of this one. Because that Necron Cryptek there is going to heal the Immortal. But yeah, basically, GW ended up... They were doing really badly, partly because people weren't buying stuff, because they already had everything. And there's the painting phase will probably be able to do a better job of explaining it all than I can. Because, like, a lot of them worked for GW. Like, one of the hosts of the painting phase is Peachy from Warhammer TV, or Warhammer Community. Also, I remember when Warhammer TV was a thing. Warhammer Community has been an interesting thing for a while. Like, GW and social media has been interesting. When they first introduced social media, they didn't have... the same kind of attitudes they do now, or that they've had for a while with regard to commenting, until their comments got flooded with "please lower your prices." And like, I'm on the subject of prices, I'm going to say I'm shocked looking at some of the prices that are about nowadays. I was looking at the Blood Angels range, and your Sanguinary Guard, when they were first released, they retailed for the same price as a Rhino, which used to be $55. Nowadays, they're what, $60, $70 for 5 models? The Death Company used to be a lot cheaper too. It's interesting how things have gone. But yeah, 2014, from what I hear, was pretty rough for GW, and 6th edition wouldn't have helped, because there were a few things that went down well with 6th edition. The release schedule back then was... Like, they released 1 to 2 things for a faction per year. So, they weren't having as much income come in. The reason we're seeing GW doing their massively fast release schedule that, in all honesty, is hurting them, in a way, because it's hurting them being able to keep stuff in production. Hey, he tried to move past... Oh, he succeeded in moving out from... Ooh, he took that fire damage. Yay, Huh. I was expecting that he was going to heal the Immortal that was here. I didn't expect him to res that one. Interesting how the AI sometimes works. Let's get rid of that, because that thing's been annoying. And if physical damage doesn't work, I will switch over to using energy damage. Because zap... Now, I'm just going to push him to here. But yeah, I'd heard the rumours back then that GW were doing badly, but of course I didn't have the information to properly make a call on it. How much shielding has you got? No, I'm just going to leave you there and let things progress for a turn. Yeah, they could do with more than one animation in this. Like, at the same time, this game is small, physically, on, like, hard drive space. When I downloaded this game, one of my previous download games had been the EA Battlefront 2. And it was huge file size, like 40 gig or 50 gig. And, like, there was that one that was about that size. There was, Mass Effect Andromeda, which I'd got on sale, and while I don't believe the game was particularly good, I do believe it was worth the on sale price. There was also Dawn of War 3, but we don't talk about Dawn of War 3. One of these days I'll maybe do a stream of it once I've got my desktop working again. Its machine spirit is weak at the moment, and it's also not particularly happy with existing in a permanent sense. And that droid is gone. Oh no, still around. Gonna be grumpy about it though. Ha. The grumpy Castellan is going to burn things. But yeah, when Mechanicus dropped, their core units, when they dropped as their own faction, their core units were pretty small. They had the Cataphren Breacher kit, the Castellan kit, the Tech Priest Dominus, the Electro and Fulbright, the two Electro Priest types, the ones with the jazz hands and the ones with the Electro staves, and that was really it. There was a detachment released through White Dwarf that allowed them to end up to actually, even if he doesn't die to the fists, he's going to die to the flames. But there was a detachment for Mechanicus that both allowed skitarii and well, actually it was a formation that allowed skitarii units and Mechanicus units and an Imperial Knight to all be fielded together. The formation didn't cost anything points wise, and all units got free war gear and free relics. This was in an era where relics and war gear all cost points, and the Mechanicus were already a relatively strong faction. The two of them together were a relatively strong faction, and they got even stronger. There were a lot of grumpy people over that. I vaguely remember the salt that happened as a result of the situation, and I don't blame anyone for being grumpy about it. It was pretty lousy for those who wanted a who had to deal with older army lists or less supported ones. Like, 6th edition had some relatively neat warlord traits. Actually, wait, I just remembered a topic I fell off. Earlier on I mentioned about flyers coming out. At the end of 5th edition, like a month or so out from 6th edition's launch, GW released, a month before that, GW had released a Necron flyer, the Doom Scythe, and then in June of 2012, they released the Orcs fighter bomber kit and the Space Marine Storm Talon gunship. At that time, the Storm Talon gunship was only the Storm Talon. It couldn't be run as a Storm Hawk interceptor. That it didn't have the parts in the kit. There are a few bits that were in the kit that suggested it might be able to be something else, but we didn't have more than kind of hints and guesses. And there was a bit of a joke made about back then there used to be this meme floating around of different factions naming conventions, and you had the Eldar naming aircrafts after the Falcon, because the Eldar's hovercraft is called the Falcon. Oh, that's going to be interesting. The Guard had the Valkyrie, which is based off a mythical creature. And the and then there's the Space Marines, who have an aircraft named after a concrete retaining piece in the Storm Talon. Like, there's also been many jokes around the shape of the Necron flyer along the lines of I designed a Necron designer going, I design aircraft for breakfast, and it zooms out to a giant croissant. Yes! Sorry, I do get happy when I manage to actually take something out on its own turn. Now, actually, I can save myself a whole lot of requisition, or a whole lot of resources and time. You're all being... It's like, you get healing, healing for everyone! Now, heal yourself up. Now, do either of them... Oh! Yeah, this is gonna work. I think I'm just going to keep him there. I'm just looking at the fact that I've not managed to do much in the way of damage to them, and that the main thing that can do damage to them is the Castellan, or the two Castellans. Technically, hey, they're going to open up on it. Good thing I healed it. Now it can take more punishment. Indeed. Well, there is an older melee-only Mechanicus run that I did on this channel. I left off it because I was having trouble with recording it. Because at the time... oh, yeah. If you've heard of the term distraction carnifex, Castellans really fit that role well. Both in this game and on the tabletop. Like, in 7th edition, they weren't vehicles, but they were nearly as tough as vehicles. And to wound them meant that you'd end up having to use some of your toughest weaponry on them. And their deflector shield meant that they'd potentially then turn whatever you hit them with back on you. Which was a heck of a thing to have a unit of 5 of them charge up the board at you. Well, unit of 4 with at least one priest. That was a tactic a mate of mine did, and it was a very effective one. Because, like, he'd also have a knight in his army, so... And I did not have much in the way of heavy firepower. Like, one of my tactical ideas was to deploy a Leman Russ Punisher against them. It didn't do very much. The theory being that he can't pass every wound roll, and spam firing is its own tactic. That old I think Soviet line of quantity has a quality of its own. It does apply to the guard, but it isn't always... Quantity sometimes isn't the quality you need. Like, the one thing I'm not particularly happy about with how things are right now with guard rules is that we have a limit of 120 infantrymen, and that's if you take doubled up squads for your guard. Guard used to have platoons, which was essentially a non-formation formation that consisted of a command squad and 2 to 5 infantry squads. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, giant thing that can't be avoided is and has to be dealt with, and you deploy 2 of them and you're going to split the enemy's focus against them. The main benefit Castellans had is they were slow. The main benefit for fighting them was they were slow. And their weapons were... They did have the option for longer range weapons. Like, I'm glad they didn't put that in this game, because these things are tough. And they don't really need the extra firepower. Sure, torsion cannon option is a thing, but yeah. Anyway, guard... In addition to the in addition to the troop options that they could have on their units, in addition to the 2 to 5 infantry squads, their infantry platoons could also be further bolstered by okay, what's it called? Two special weapons squads, which, if you've played prior to this edition, you'll probably know about, or prior to the codex that we got at the end of last edition. God, that codex was not the best. I mean, some stuff was cool. The big dumb banner, as it's referred to by, I think, Morty and Glory, was neat because it meant that actually, can I... which one is... no, it's not worth it. I'll keep him further back because I can take him... well, I could probably have attacked, but oh well. He's coming up, so let's further push him into here. But yeah, your special weapons squads were 6-man teams with six-man squads with 3 special weapons in it. It was a requirement to swap your special weapon out, or swap 3 of the models out, las guns out, for special weapons. Which, like, there was a relatively valid... why can't I hit him? I am in base contact. Why can't I hit this son of a... oh, because he's walked through a wall. Look, sometimes this game is hilariously buggy. It will have the Necrons walk through walls, and you won't be able to attack them, but the Necrons will have no such qualms. I've had the flying Necrons deploy themselves into airdrop into walls, and it does get really infuriating at times. But it's also funny, so I kind of let it slide. So much for... let's just see if I can... yes! That gets rid of him. Woomph. And now the Necron goes up in flames. Or as the Imperium likes to shout, burn Xenos! Boy, that line could be really bad if taken out of... it's the application of Necron facing technology. They finally discovered another what is it? I can't read that past the love heart icon that's appearing on the thing. Ancient Terran horror films. Yes! I mean... alternatively, to quote Helsing Ultimate Abridged, "Hey kids, want to see a dead body?" And the entire room proceeds to scream until Integra tells them to be quiet. Helsing Ultimate Abridged. That was a fun series. I can get him to there. Good. Because I'm kind of trying to get everyone out of here this turn, if I can. Is there one tech priest down there? Yes, there is. Good. You're going in there now. There was... oh yeah, infantry platoons. And in addition to that, there was the option for... I can't remember whether it was 3 or 5... it was either up to 3 or up to 5 heavy weapons squads. So 3 heavy weapons, 3 teams with heavy weapons per squad. You have seen it. Nice. Yeah. The one Necron I can think of who would do it, it'd be just as likely to steal the paintings. And the running, and I mean, if he ever appears in a room, the answer to why are you here and how are you here are the same. The Cyphus Kane meme, the meme with him appearing in Cyphus Kane's office, and Cyphus Kane going, "Who are you and why are you in and how did you get in here?" And he's like, "I'm Trazyn the Infinite, and I'm Trazyn the Infinite." And Cyphus Kane suddenly looking very nervous. Ooh, big scary red button. I will not press it. There comes a point in this game where both the game itself starts to go, okay, don't press that button any further. You know that it's not safe to press. explode! I, of course, will blow things up because pyromania is a thing. I mean, sure, the one character that Heathen never ignore the big red button. Like in this game, the if the thing is glowing green, it means it's safe. If it's glowing red, it means don't press it. But yeah, the one character I'd love to have in another game that I've been playing, and I might immediately lose all my viewers for saying this since it's been a long time since I last streamed that game, I'd love to have the arson child as she's described, or as I describe her, meet the pyro, or meet the grenadier, a character called Klee in Genshin. I'd love to have her just for the lols and the memes. Unfortunately, unlocking characters in that game requires gambling, and luck has never been with me when I've gone for it, and I have a very low limit that I'm willing to spend on any game. 40k gets more than all my video game spending, and that isn't much most of the time. Okay, on to the actual mission itself. Resources from lifeform NN346 code Heavy Destroyer have been positive. Now see heavier pattern designated lifeform code NN346.2. Gather we must. Isn't it a failure of the Omnissiah that we farmed the Xenos data? One of our favorites, one of my favorites, cannot unless you canticle. V34 shares the only will of the machine spirit is that of the Omnissiah technology. For the Xenos will deceive you and tempt you, but you will not falter, for you are a tech priest. That is a very Xenos line. Oh yeah. I mean, I'll do a stream. I'm going to be doing a stream or two of Genshin at some point soon. A whole new region comes out next week. And while I do have other commitments next week as well, I do want to actually play it and do like a stream where I wander across to the region and start the story there. Loving how bits on this Necron bend. Falsus, I have not heard of this verse, Vidix. I will request a data merge on this log once the mission is complete. For now, however, we must do what we can to survive. And data mining Xenos life forms is one of those sacrifices we need to make. Now, I need to fill a glass of water. Give me a moment. Like my favorite kind of videos on Genshin are ones that have been done by other kind of comedy focused channels. There's the what is it? So this is basically series that very much takes the mickey out of anything it watches, but in a good way. And then there's Maxor with his rather, dare I say, insane videos. Like, I seriously question sometimes his sanity because he seems kind of insane. Dated version. Well, to be fair, Magos Videx is of Forge World Metallica, who are quite dogmatic and may not necessarily share all information. Oh yeah, Maxwell is something along the lines of a crackhead, but a fun one. Now, this is assuming they don't proceed to immediately open fire. And oh right, I forgot about the shield generator. At least it's not the spider. I do not like the spider. But yeah, this is basically series does a quite light-hearted video on the did a quite light-hearted video back on Genshin in its kind of second year. Oh, Bricky. Yeah, I haven't watched much of Bricky's stuff. I think I've got a I think I follow him. Oh, come on, Josh Strife Hypays, or Hype Stripes, or however you say his name. That Castellan is gone. I put it way too close to those Necrons. Okay. Oh, that is convenient. Actually, let's just put down another one. It's like, because when in doubt, let's put down a second of the same health. Oh dear. They are not doing well. Oh boy. I really need to defeat that boss off the hidden quest chain. I mean, causing dilemmas for your enemy is always a good thing. Like, the comment that I've seen made about made in relation to war stuff is you don't want to give your enemy problems, because problems can be solved. You want to cause your enemy dilemmas. Now, which enemy is the one that starts up? Oh, it's the one at the front. Okay. That. I should have put the armor. That would have been the smart thing to preserve them, but let's just make these guys do some damage. I am going to try and set that front one on fire and hope for the best. Since he is the next one to go. And he absolutely will shred one of these two units. Damn. He's not down. Okay. Now I can just move him to here to be acting as a battery. Like, that's one of the tricks I use for the stealth priest, is I'll just use them as batteries. Ooh, I did some serious damage. That's good. Now let's see if either of the Castellans die. Yep. I knew one of them was going down. Sad to see it go. I quite like the Castellans. And now let's get rid of more of the enemy. I could make an easy off BAM joke, and I only have that stuck in my head because of the ads for it, which means the advertising is sort of working, except I have never bought their products. So yeah, can't exactly endorse something I've never bought. Well, I could, but I'm not an influencer, so now I am going to run you up to here because I want you to go through next turn. Oh wow, I took out a few of them at least. Now, screw that, let's just heal. If he'd have gone first, I would have healed the, if he had have gone before the Necron Destroyer, I would have healed that. Oh, I've healed the Tech Priest instead. Oops. Oh well, that happens. I have servo arms. I always try to have at least one Tech Priest that's over-equipped with medical tools. just having someone who can heal your units is always a valuable thing. Now, where am I going to put him? I'm going to put him there because I need batteries. But yeah, so infantry platoons back in 5th edition, or well, technically right up until 8th edition, from I think 5th edition through 5th through 8th through till 8th, it was not unreasonable for you to see an absolute swamp of infantry. I mean, if you know the YouTuber Mordian, the guard YouTuber Mordian Glory, he's actually shared a story where he made an Eldar player cry because this person had gone in expecting to be dealing with a mixed guard list, and because he at the time was a quite broke guard player who had to deal with quite limited money, he focused on just building up infantry and building up a lot. Wow, look at how quickly they've started shredding that Castellan. Like, I fully healed it and it's already down to 6 health. That really says something, doesn't it? And it's not necessarily a good something. Can he... No, he doesn't have that thing. It's just... because I don't want to waste cognition. Yeah, I am actually going to do a potentially risky move and pull him back. I say potentially risky because someone else is going through the breach and it's not him. The Immortal can't do anything. The Castellan, on the other hand, can. Greetings, Necron scum. I'm setting you all on fire. I love how they've set the computer to be 20 damage with level 5 shields on it. Just because they really don't want you destroying that one. I'm going to move the Castellan back because it's kind of useful. I can bring it up in a bit for that. It would be advisable to hold off on using those until I know what the stats of the thing here is. So let's find out. Oh, good. I didn't waste the buzzsaw. Bye. If that don't do it, my next attack could have, but I will just buzzsaw it out of existence instead. But yeah, like, having a guard player field over 100 infantry, or field like 300 infantry, or 500, was not an impossible thing in 5th edition. I mean, it was a very one-sided thing. Like, it's something you do when you absolutely want to make sure that the enemy will not be able to kill everything you've got. And that was a very valid tactic. But yeah, Mordian's got the video up himself of the time I made someone cry. And yeah, the person he was playing with very much had gone in expecting to be able to pull off a net list, or pull off a standard anti-guard list. And because Mordian was running a max infantry force, that list did not work at all. Hey, I can run this guy a long way. It's like, he's coming. He's a-coming. Or, oh Lord, he coming. The Tech Priest must escape. I really hope I don't have to actually also defeat those, because there's a whole lot of enemies that have just appeared. Oh, he opened fire. I don't know. He does open fire, but not on what I wanted him to. Oh, it survived. Good. I mean, it won't for long, but... Okay. You I need back at full health. No, wait. Why am I trying to attack my own dude? Who's on fire that I can on fire? Oh, second then I realised, oh wait, I set my own dude on fire. Oops. These things happen. But yeah, I mean, one of my favourite units for the Guard got killed off at the end of 8th edition with the Guard Codex that released in November, December. And that was veterans. I mean, sure, they didn't have a model because at the time, because GW had designed them with the express intent of players. Actually, yes I can, but it requires a cognition point that I do not have. Well, that can be fixed. It's hilarious, I'm about to use a canticle that allows me to then proceed to use another to generate extra resources. Okay, I am gonna just jump over to here. Cognition! Like, a lot of the time I don't end up actually using canticles. I'm absolutely going to move into this position. Like, let's just go. 7! Nice! Let's just get rid of him. Yes! I actually got rid of him. I like it when a plan comes together, even if it's a hastily botched together plan. I could have put his shield up, dang it. Yeah, like in the 5th Ed Guard Codex, we had a lot of characters that GW proceeded to discontinue a bit later on. Case in point, Captain Elrahem, Chenkov, or whatever his name actually is, of the... Oh, I could have used that without revealing the character, dang it. Well, that worked. Not. Is there any other... No, there is not. Okay. He is locked in combat now. Fun. Called it. I thought that door was going to close. Don't say botched. It was an efficient operation evaluated in a moment by a resident tech priest in the grace of the Omnissiah. Get the language right. Oh, I like you. That's a good one. This necron is not doing well because I am bonking him with every option I have. Did that break his camo? No, it didn't. This will. Very much will. I can't get him round that Castellan. Oops. Let's get him where he generates cognition. Okay, you can pull back. Stomp, stomp, stomp. Let's see if I can set anything on fire. Yes! Warmth. Not exactly sure where I picked up going warmth in relation to fire as a sound of fire, but it works. Castellan is full health. Maintenance applied to obviously malfunctioning Xenos machinery. Well, I mean, that's one way to do it. You get health. And it's a bit like, it's like a bit like, oh, come on, the K2SO meme. And I'll explain a bit of Genshin stuff in a moment, so it makes even more sense. But congratulations, you are being healed. Do not resist. The relevance to Genshin being there are characters who will get stronger when their health is next to non-existent. This results in people running away from healers because their opinion is, I do more damage when I'm dead than when I'm nearly dead, or than when I am at full health. My response normally to them is, you do more damage at full health than you do when you're out of action and sitting in the waiting for the co-op fight to end. And I will frequently run healers in co-op parts of that game purely to keep the rest of my team alive, regardless of how good my companions are. Sometimes I end up with some really good companions. Other times I end up with people who barely know how to play their character and think that just because they've been healed up, they suddenly... I could have just evacuated without any stress. Okay. They feel that suddenly they can't afford to be full health. So the cohort locates the chamber with the scale model of the tomb. It's too large and elaborate to be transported, so they take thorough pics of every detail. Reasons for building it remain obscure, but the Adeptus Mechanicus now possesses valuable guide to the full extent of the tombs on Silver Tyrannus. I doubt it. We should be grateful that Ephetus had such a high opinion of his own skills. The Grand Architect's scale model has given us intelligence about the extent of the tomb complex that would otherwise have cost us good lives to acquire. I return some satisfaction. Oops, I skipped it. Oh well, funny voices don't go bare. More teachings of the Omnissiah? My observation from experience, the enemy does not give much, so what he does give must be grabbed without hesitation. Indeed. Any moment of any opportunity and weakness an enemy makes must be exploited, lest your enemy be able to capitalize on their own mistake instead of you. At the same time, it must be weighed against the risk of that mistake being intentional bait. Then considering the white mage can only heal so fast. Oh yeah, there are many healers that do healing in different ways in the game. I need to head off anyway because it's 2:30. It's after 2:30 in the morning here in Australia. Thanks for joining me, guys, and thanks for I think one of the stream viewers is just me. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Ale Omkin 3. Sorry, I've butchered your name there. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I will be doing more streaming in future of this game and potentially Genshin. Anyway, catch yous round. Bye. Oh, wrong button.